and this is this pick slanting stuff that I remember, gosh, 20 years ago, I remember hearing from Troy Grady and his pick slanting deal. And he reached out. I wasn't really into it then because, well, number one, I really wasn't into instruction at that point in my life. I was kind of working on the band. But the thing that I was with pick slanting that kind of threw me toward a little bit of a negative interpretation of it is the goal. In other words, it was presented as if, hey, slant your pick like this and you'll be a speed demon, you'll solve your picking problems. Well, that's not true. It's important to understand the escapes. So, there's those two. So you got your pick and, well, let's see, how can I demonstrate? So it's really hard to demonstrate this. It'd be better. But if you angle your pick so that it's, by the way, I never called it pick slanting. I always called it pick tilt. The top of the pick toward I should do it more like this. The top of the pick toward the floor, that's a downward slant or downward tilt. And that means that you're going to be picking into the body of the guitar with the downstroke and then up away from the body of the guitar with the upstroke. That's also called an upward escape, because you're escaping from the plane of the strings on the upstroke. But on the downstroke, after a downstroke, you're buried into the plane of the strings. And then you've got the opposite, which is an upward pick slant or pick tilt, means that you're going to escape with the downstroke, and then with the upstroke, you go into the strings. And it's good to understand that, because if you do a downstroke and you're buried into the strings and you're supposed to get around the next physically lower string and do an upstroke, there's no way you can do it. So you do need to understand that. However, it's not going to solve your problems, because the more extreme you tilt, it makes one set of motions, cross string picking motions, easy at the expense of its opposite, which means you can only do 50% of the picking mechanics. And if you do it the other way, you can do the other 50%. And in complex licks, we face situations then where you'd be changing your pick slanting, constantly, and that does not work.